wait a second. It's still syncing the file, but the link will be live in a few seconds, I think.
Okay. Just let me know.
Yeah. Because it's 112 megabytes, so it's 1/3 up. So yeah. It's 847 megs. It's big. Half of it is up now, so yeah. It should go faster for you to download it than it takes for me to upload it. Yeah.
Hopefully I have an unzip file.
Zip. If you have Windows 10 or 11, you can handle, you can handle the zip file.
All right.
That was a bit more than half up. Yeah. 500 megs is up out of 800, and but there should always be a little bit of drama now and then. That's 75% of it is up. Imagine doing this in modems back in the day?
No.
It would have taken a month.
Days.
Yeah. Okay, 700 megabytes. 140 left. 750. Fairly fast here. 800. It's 25, so 25 more megs.
Still trying to get the files.
Yeah. It's up. Upload is complete, so now you should be able to download it from Dropbox to your computer. If you run it in the browser, you should be able to save that on your computer now. Yeah. Using the link I gave you. Yeah.
It says it's too big. I'm clicking on it, the Dropbox, and it's not. Continue to.
No, but you should not. You should right click on the link and save the damn thing to your computer. Don't try to browse it
to my computer. The link.
No, when you have you logged in?
I right click.
Okay.
I right click on it. And
well, then what the heck? I'll fire up OBS and I can share it on my screen here.
Yeah, it's just too big to load. The file type must be smaller to load.
Yeah. 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 You need to have a Dropbox client, Jane. Yeah. You need to move into the 21st century.
Yeah, or get the
cloud storage. Cloud storage. You can download them one by one then. While we have the stream.
All the ones I was downloading. I gotta start
but
over.
Download one at a time. That should work. It should. They're numbered.
While I'm live?
Yeah. Oh, that might not work. Okay. Yeah. But we are live already, so yeah. So anyway, I'll see if I can fire up OBS here. Let's see. I might have to leave Zoom call. We'll see here. So yeah, let's see. I now have to make sure that cam.
I'm just gonna do I'll do 10 at a time while the stream's going, and they're downloading too.
Oh, it works.
Well, I got the first 10.
Oh, that's good. Then we have the
I-
first
well, I
half
got
hour.
the first 10, and then I got to cut them from download box to somewhere where I can utilize them.
Can't you just download them to where you want them?
Well, no, because it won't. It just goes right to downloads. I don't have it reset.
Well, you can show them from downloads, can't you? It's a folder like everybody else. Yeah.
What's up, Bosco?
So here we go.
All right. We're just going to come live, and I'm going to work on this as we're streaming. So
Well,
there you
worst
go.
case scenario, I can fire up Video Ninja and I can
All right.
take it
Well,
on
I
my
got the
screen
first
here.
10
So,
out of 60 downloaded.
oh, that's
so...
good. That's good. And they're roughly the same size, all of them. So there's a couple of little bigger ones. So this should work then.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, you guys aren't going to be hearing talking from me for a while. So Anna, just tell me when to
Okay.
switch a slide, and I'll.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem is
No
I'm doing this
worries.
on the
Yeah.
second screen, and that's what they're
Now
going
you
to
got
see.
me. Yeah, set it here. So I need to log into chat so I can before we
Yeah.
start here.
How's
So yeah,
everyone
but we have
doing?
time. Yeah.
Um,
There we go. And pop out chat.
Whoops. Seeing if I met. Yeah.
There we go.
30.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first, I have to thank you, Jay, for hosting this. So,
No
so
problem.
this,
All
yeah,
good.
we
All good. We're waiting for
this
Control Lord
this will work. Yeah.
Trade in.
Yep.
I haven't even I haven't got my Streamlabs up yet, and for the giveaway and stuff. Gotta do that. Hey, what's up, Vile? Having some technical issues here.
Well, it's just it takes a little while, but good thing is that then no one else have seen them until it comes up because there's some new cool stuff in here. So yeah,
That's awesome.
I think there's some couple of slides down there I haven't shown anybody yet. So
Controller game giveaway name maybe. Where am I last at? I can't even.
Yeah.
60. 180.
Hello, Amy. Thank you so much. Yeah, Amy was in my game we ran earlier today. That was a lot
good.
of fun. Yep. We had a game yesterday that went well or reasonably well, but not super. The
Right.
first game, it was a little bit haphazard, I think. We got going, but today's game, that was a lot of fun. It was really turned out fantastic.
Oh, very
Thanks
cool.
to wonderful players. They were good players yesterday too. So that was more my fault that we didn't get off the ground superb, so to speak. But yeah,
Right.
so that was good. So we set up for tomorrow's game. So, and we'll see in the future. There's talks. We'll see if we can do some streaming games in the future. So yeah.
I am only 1/3 done.
Okay,
So
but that's good. That
maybe-
keeps us the first 45 minutes, so we're good here. So yeah.
But the problem is I'm doing this on the second machine, and to show these, I got to show these on the second machine, right? I can't.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
the problem. Is that
Okay. So
Anna, watch. Here comes Troll Lord. So
okay.
yo.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Chuck? We're having a little technical issue getting all everything downloaded. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. 270. Is that it? All right. All the slide numbers 290. There's like 60 slides. 300 just by number. All right. Well, let me do these. I'm doing them 10 at a time. why don't we start and then we'll take like a break of like a minute or two in between
Oh
so I
yeah,
can get the rest of
definitely.
them.
That works. Yep.
I can get the rest of them downloaded. So
Yep.
yeah, we'll do that for everyone. Um,
Hello, Chuck. Thank you for. I did
yep.
only caught the last 10 minutes of your stream, but that was good. And I'm wearing all summer. I've been wearing the Castle and Crusade T-shirt. So yep, for your Summer of Siege. So yep.
All right, so I can
Well, not all, but on almost every stream the whole summer. So yep.
close that out. I gotta leave this.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta leave
Yep.
this up in the background.
That's the
Okay.
thing. Now you get to see the inside of running an online convention. There's a lot of
No.
scrambling, there's a lot of
Yeah.
things to fix, and it's a heck of a lot of. I've been busy bee for the last week, like crazy. Done 16-hour days here just to get everything set up, and damn, it's tough. So yeah, awesome. Here we go.
$10
Yeah.
GCs for this. Okay. We have two $10 gift certificates. So there we go. All right. So yeah, I don't have a third screen, or I'd continue to download, but I don't have a screen to show this, so
Oh,
I'll do it on this.
that's good. So yeah, I put together first. The rest of the slides are a little bit of a mishmash of screenshot slides from previous conventions. So some of
Okay.
them probably might say different convention because I didn't make the same slide with the new virtual Greyhawk Con logo on
Right.
them. I usually do that for Gary Con and some other big conventions. I took some of the old slides, and then there's a bunch of new ones that hasn't been seen yet, so to speak. So yeah. There we
Well,
go.
I may be able
Awesome.
to do this on the main screen while we're going. So,
Yeah,
all right.
that
So
that's
I will
fantastic. So
try. Of
yeah,
course, they're not popping up over here like they should be.
there you
Okay.
go. Yeah,
All right.
perfect. So
Take it away.
this,
Tell me to switch
yeah,
when the
yeah,
switch
yeah.
goes. Okay.
They're numbered. So and I have them here too, so we can
Okay.
so I know what's coming up, so to speak. So we can go over. So the first big thing over there is that I'm now moving my Greyhawk maps over to use GIS technology. The old Greyhawk map, I converted that one over to using the GIS technology as well. So GIS, this geographical information systems. So it's basically a way to manage geographical information. So putting together locations, height data, texture data, all that stuff, so to speak. And it's not necessarily to make the maps look prettier, but it's to make them more useful. So you can kind of use maps all sorts of things. Print, JPEG, you can use them online. There will be, I'm planning to set up, I'm converting an old desktop very soon. I will convert the desktop I'm running the streaming on here because I'm ordered a new laptop, so that will take over. So then I will get a desktop that I will install the Linux server on and start have a GIS, a Greyhawk GIS server on it. So eventually I want to, if I get enough patron support, I want to take that online. So there will be like a Google Maps, but for Greyhawk, so you can stream all the map data and you can put your stuff on top of it. So you will get the base layer of stuff, and then you can, or you can just download it and make your own version of it. That is the goal, so to speak. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm looking into it. I will probably just like mint or something to go to start with because I have to start from scratch, and then I have to figure out what some switch to a server side thing, and yeah. So I'm still learning the ropes. I'm a newbie at that part yet. So, but I'm sure I have a lot of people in the community who have way more experience and stuff like that. Oh, awesome. That is great. So, yep. So first I will run one locally on my LAN here and test that out and get it working in the next couple of years. And then eventually in 3, 4, 5 years, I hopefully can gather enough support so I rent a server space and run it online, so to speak. So that's the ultimate goal. But even before that happens, I can put the data available for download rather than streamed. That's a publication too. So, but let's look a little bit at the features of the new GIS maps. You can go to the next slide here. And this is one of the bits I put together. It's like 15 areas, I think. I put Greyhawk into a bunch. So this is one area. So if you zoom into the borders, you can see there are two. Yeah, first you can zoom in like this, and zoom in a little bit close. There's two sets of, the new thing here is that they are projected maps. So they are actually accurate they are surface accurate. So they are using orthogonal projection. So they are surface accurate. So you can see on the roads, they have little mile markers every 5 miles, and then there's a bigger one every 50 miles. Those are actual distances. And there's also two grids, a black grid and a white grid. The black grid is one line every 2 degrees. Those are for finding things. So if you have a geolocation, you know the latitude and longitude of a place. You use the black grid to find that location. The white grid is one line every 100 miles. And so you have two, that is for distance measuring. So you have between two white lines, there is 100 miles, so to speak. Otherwise, it's roughly, it's the same information. I'm trying to update it, so to speak. And so there's a few things that happens between each edition. There's changes and stuff. And I put together, but I think they are visually more pleasing than the old ones. And otherwise, it's the same terrain under them. But that's where the next big leap will be. I will use this data and then move in and change the underlying map to something way more detailed. We're getting to that in later here, so to speak. So, but this is and if you go to the bottom, you can see, and the edge, you can see the distances and stuff. So each of these areas covers like, what is it, like 10,000 square miles or something like that. So there you have a distance bar and stuff. So these will be accurate, so to speak, because these are projected. That's why the shape looks a little bit off from the earlier map that wasn't projected. This one is projected just the way real maps are. So I actually placed the Flanies, and that was one of the tricky bits with this, was to figure out exactly where the Flanies is placed on the planet. And that's why I also had to start figuring out the locations of the planet. But we get to the whole planet a little bit later here, so to speak.
Okay.
That's awesome. We had lots of cool stuff. So big shout outs for, yeah, this is the biggest. I just made one to test how big map. This one is 30,000 pixels across. So that's why I made the simply put the biggest possible you can do in one file and tested where that was. You can get almost the whole Flanies in one file. But this is the digital edition. Next year, I want to make a series that are for print as well, because a lot of people are asking me for print. So I will make a series that are based on 24 by 36 inch is my goal, because that is a format you can print fairly easy in lots of places. It's a kind of a standard format. You can send a file online and a bunch of places like that. So I will make a series of maps that are geared for print rather than for digital use. So that's the next one. So these are examples of taking the old maps using a new technology, so to speak.
Okay.
But that was the first step for me to learn the technology, to see if it works, and to get things placed in the world, because I need to use this map as a reference for the next one, and so on and so forth, like they do in the real world, where you have a map. Then when they make a better map, they use the old one as a reference and satellite photos and stuff like that. But then go to the next slide. Here comes the tricky bit with formats when it comes to yeah, so we have one obvious one is PDFs and JPEGs. Those are, and PSDs. PSDs are the Photoshop format where you can get them layered, the final map, so you can kind of remove stuff if you don't want it, and you can edit it just a little bit. But that's more like edited the final result just a little bit. If you're really into the weeds and want to make your own version of Greyhawk, then it's the geo package that is the format, because that's everything. It's like a small database with all the files and all the data. So you can download the geo package. You can already download the geo package for this digital series of maps and play around with it and make your own version. I'm going to have a seminar when I get back home from Gamehole Con, where I can have like a Zoom seminar with patrons and others who are invited if you want to come on and learn. And I will run some map streams on Fridays, working with geo package and stuff
Oh,
and
wow.
show it a bit what it's doing, and maybe do a YouTube videos or two, because I want everybody to be able to, who wants to take the geo package and make their own version of Greyhawk, just like Jay has his map version and I have my map version and so on.
Same.
I want you to take the file and make your map version for your campaign, so to speak. So that's the idea. So that's the obvious format. In the future, I want, yeah. And then we have a new series of wanting to update the symbols too. So the new GIS maps I've updated the symbols a little bit, so they look a little bit clearer, they're easier to read. And there were a couple of them that I wasn't super happy with when I did them 25 years ago or almost 30 years ago. So I've updated them a few, like the Thorps and the dwarfs and these tiny little ones have gotten new symbols. Their village looks a little bit different. The major and minor sites have got new symbols as well, and so on. Otherwise, they are the same they used to be. I think the oldest is a dragon. I forgot where I got it was a Corel Draw clip art, I think, that
Oh,
was
really?
based in it, because I used Corel Draw in the beginning, and they had a dragon symbol in there, and that's the one I used for Dragon Lair. And here is the other symbol standard. So apart from the different symbols for like towns and cities and stuff, you also have their significance and their status and their placement. That says the color, and the ring around them tells if it's a capital, if it's a free province, local, and so on. And then you have the ruined and normal, and I have one for floating, submerged, underground, and aerial. I haven't used that many of them. More than there are a couple of examples, but these I had them back in the day, and they might be useful. And then the next one has you have the little racial or cultural symbols.
Correct, or
That
is it
was
the same one?
Yeah, that was the same one. Yeah.
Sorry.
Number 65. There you go. So I put in the dwarven, elven, gnomes, giant, halfling, humanoid, undead, and drow. And I thought a fantasy map should have these.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, so you can put them in, and all that, it's not only the towns, every symbol comes with this, either in the center of the symbol or as a little emblem on the top. So the whole series. So there is 1,000, over 1,000 symbols all in all, and that set is also downloadable. You can in my Patreon, there's somewhere a link. I will go to update my website fairly soon, and on my Notion database, you can find all of these stuff. So I can put the link in here. Let's see here. I can post it in chat. I'm just gonna open, and there we go.
All right, so we got 2 Troller Game Gift Certificate giveaways.
Yep.
Exclamation point drawing. It'll be at the end, which will be, a little less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let me see here.
There we go. So I'm going to
Everything's all
post.
downloaded, so we're okay.
Okay, perfect.
Good.
Then we don't have to worry about this part. So
Yeah.
there is the link to my Notion site. That's will be my data provider, for so to speak, where you have downloaded content, because you can search things and stuff. So a lot of the stuff is there, heraldry and the whole shebang. Okay, so now we're getting into the weeds here a bit. So when I started, I was super reluctant like 10 years ago when I was starting to think like, okay, should I start? People say, oh, when it's the rest of the planet coming? Is now you've done the Flannies, will you do the rest of the planet? And I was like, no, I don't never want to do the rest of the planet ever. And I did, but then I was when I started tinkering with GIS or QGIS and GIS mapping, I realized I need to know where the Flannies is on the planet. And that almost that forced me in the back way that I had to start mapping the planet. Maybe not the whole thing, but at least part of it. And then I realized, what the heck? I sat down and started scrambling or like tinkering around with it. And after a few months of this, or a few weeks, I was hooked. This was fun. So this was cartography that was kind of meant to be, so to speak. So I was kind of, this is so cool. So this is This is a sample of my 1.5 or second version. The first version was super simple. That was basically just the outline of the coastlines and the mountains. And then I did the second version of Earth, that is this version that is almost as good. It's like a scaled or like low resolution version of the current maps, but for the whole planet. And that got me an idea of my vision of the planet, so to speak, of Earth. And this is the result. This is the second version of that. You see the northern summer, and then at the bottom there's a northern winter, and then you see the North Pole versus the South Pole at summer and winter on that. So that's John Wade. That's a good one. That's a combination of in the Flanies. It's a combination of what the stories told us, because the Darlene map and all the stories have the major forests kind of mapped out, but then there's a lot of smaller ones. And then I simply go by climate data and by the type of landscape that is described in the stories. So it's like what's logically should be at that spot and what the stories tell us are there. So I try to make a combination of the two. They talk about agriculture and is it temperate? Is it whatever? So it's a combination of the stories and kind of an idea. I'm building the model of the planet bit by bit, so to speak. But I try to be true to the stories, not to the letter, but to thematically have the planet work, so to speak. It's a fantasy planet, but I still want it to function in a certain way, so to speak. So it supports the stories. So that's a great question, Johan. Yeah, and here I just fiddle around and say what the time zones in on Earth are. So here you can see the stripes are 1 hour time zones around the planet. So that way you get a decent. That's a quick way of measuring the size compared to Earth, where you can see that the Flanies is, what is it, like 6 time zones from one end to the other. So it's a little bit more spread out that way. And Hepmonaland would probably cover quite a bit there. But Werik is like Eurasia or even bigger, because it's like, what is it, 12, 13, 14 time zones or something from one end to the other. But this is my second take at the planet, where I started to feel like, yeah, now I'm getting somewhere. So I did like a cold version and a hot version and a whole bunch of stuff. And I started to tie that into my story of my version of Greyhawk, so to speak, ancient story and stuff. So I wanted to tie in the maps and the geography with my campaign setting, with the stories I'm using in my campaign. And that is a lot of fun stuff to let geography be part of, because I see it as the canvas where the stories play out on top of, so to speak. So it's one of the stuff that you build a role-playing game campaign. You use geography is one of them, the rules is another, etc. So you have a bunch of pillars that supports your game. Okay. And here we have another experiment I did a couple of years ago that I showed at GaryCon and I think Gamehole as well last year. These are different settings that are on my Earth 2.0 version, so to speak. The big yellow rectangle, that's easy. That's Greyhawk, the world of Greyhawk as we know it from the Darlene maps, and now the Schley map and the others. And it's that big. And then the small little yellow rectangle in there, that's Blackmore set in there. So I want to change that small rectangle to be more representative of the original Blackmore setting, and then kind of take that, tweak it back into Greyhawk. That's one of my projects I'm working on now and then when I get the inspiration. To the left, there is one that goes portrait style, so to speak. Yeah, and that is the setting of Lankmar. So I took that part of Greyhawk on the map of
one, right?
Earth. Yeah, the middle one. Zoom in a little bit, and there you go. Yeah, not that one. The one in
This one?
that one. Yep,
Oh,
that one. Yeah, so that is Lankmar to scale, because all of
oh
these
wow.
maps are actually to scale that I place there. So that way I can. And my idea is that Lankmar is actually there, and it's an Sul already combo kind of culture that survived. the invoked devastation and the twin cataclysms and survived. So it's kind of a Western, but it's not a pure Bacloony. It's a Sewell Oridian kind of mix that have gone its own way, so to speak. Just like the Origians in Greyhawk have formed their culture, this is gone a different direction. But they have the same roots, which I think is kind of cool. And to the left of that one is a smaller yellow one. That is Ocarim, the Gaxwork or Lugagex setting that I put in there because that matches both, I think, the climate and the size. So that one is there. So if you want to run that in the same world, that's the place where you can put it. And then there's one more way out west in Urk, that one there. Yeah. And that's Athas, the Dark Sun, the world of Dark Sun. I
Oh,
put that one there. And if you zoom in, that is actually
nice.
the Dark Sun map translated into so that one is there. So if you want to run Dark Sun in your Greyhawk campaign, that's where you can put it, and it would fit in perfectly geographically
Did
and
not know that.
climate-wise and all that.
Did not know you did that.
No, so it's kind of cool. And it shows how big Greyhawk is compared to a bunch of others because I've actually measured those maps according to their own notes on how big it is, and
Hey, really?
Greyhawk is that much bigger. So yeah. So that's one cool experiment you can do. So yeah.
Mm,
And now we come into what will the Earth 3.0 be? If that was 2.0, what can we do with 3.0? I'd made a climate model and some other stuff too, but they're also available on my website and the Notion site as well. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Disorderly Dice. I've had a long time to work on this. And thank to you guys, I have a lot of time to work on it too, because I can do this full time now. So it's awesome. I can just keep doing this. So now comes, so after doing that, I'll sit down and okay, what should I do for Worth 3.0? So I went back to the drawing board, and instead of painting in Photoshop and stuff and then projected it on a globe, I'm like, damn, this needs to be 3D. And I want to do and see if I can make a proper model of the planet. So let's look a little bit what my first attempts at Earth 3.0. So this is Lendor Isle and the Spindrifts. And this is like 500 feet per pixel, roughly. And to date, it's actually the best model I have of Lendor Isle. It's not detailed, super detailed by any means, but it's fairly accurate and it's a 3D and the texture is very primitive, but the height model works fairly well, so to speak. So that was one of my tests. I have the Admundfort Island or Walworth Isle in the new div, and Lendor are part of my go-to little test areas if I just want to see if something technically work. I go to these and map them. So I mapped them like 20 times over, but Lendor, I'm not super happy. And there's the one without. So it's not super detailed, but it's to do you can zoom in a bit and we can see there you get to the details. You can see every pixel is about 600 feet. So you get like 10 pixels per mile roughly. So it's definitely not super detailed. You will not see settlements or anything like that. But for a world map, it's not terrible. If this is textured properly, it wouldn't look too bad. It's great for finding a way around the world, but it's not good for adventuring or anything like that. That's all. Thank you, Shlomo. Yeah, thank you.
So this
So
isn't a
this
volcanic isle at all.
it is,
It
but
is?
it's a really old one. If you
Okay.
look at that big lake in the middle, that is an old crater. But I simply assume that Lindor is an island that was volcanic maybe millions of years ago,
Okay.
or a few tens of millions of years ago,
Okay.
because it's always been depicted as fairly mountainous from lens or original drawings and
Right.
maps to so on. So that I assume that it is but it doesn't have any notations of any active volcanoes at all. So I made
Right.
it as an
Okay.
island who's been like parts of Scotland and other areas that were volcanic like 20, 30 million years ago. So that is like an old crater in a volcano that has long since
Right.
been dormant
Eroded.
for
Yeah.
yeah. So that leaves that's why you have part of that crater rim is still there, and the other has eroded away over eons, so to speak, of time. So this was the test, so to speak, but not just then I needed to figure out, can I do not only the island, so this is the island scene from perspective showing that it's actual 3D, but
Right.
what's even important is that something that Troy Cannibal Troy Alleman wants the ocean maps and stuff. So then you needed to figure out, can you do ocean depth? So this, if you zoom out a little bit on this one, you can see this one has depth. I've
Oh,
taken, this one has probably about 100 miles depth in, so I wanted to see if I can make it really deep. So go to the next slide. And there I put in ocean depth into it.
is that the
Oh,
same
one
one? That's a
more.
different one? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same one.
Oh,
Yeah.
I downloaded that one twice. Whoops.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no
Oh.
worries.
Hopefully, am I missing one? I'm missing
Yeah,
one.
you're missing one, but it's okay. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's
Damn.
okay. Yeah. So what the next one was showing was that instead of just a blue block, you can
Damn.
actually see the underlying mountains and stuff. It's just like that one, so it's
Okay.
okay. Yeah. So no worries. This is a map, and this kind of oh, thank you, Boxel. This is yeah. So yeah, exactly. 4.0, I'm aiming to have an MMO. You're a little bit closer than you think, so to speak. But it's yeah. So I will get to that
Okay.
later on. My ambitions for the future. Starting a geo server is one of them, but I also have other ideas. But this is an example of what you can do with this that I did for Troy for the one of the module for Cannibal Press. I forgot the name of it now, but it's set in near Greyhawk. So that's why the mountains are that color that the Greyhawk mountains are. So that is seen from the 3D 3D perspective. But take the next one, and we can see this one from the top, and then zoom in and see the
Let me close
details.
out
So
some of those.
yeah, there you go. This is the top one. You can zoom in. There is in the middle of it. There's a little settlement there. So there you go. And that one is where you can, this is the detail I'm aiming for regional local maps and stuff of
Wow.
areas. So I want to take all the different areas like cities and stuff like that to start mapping them at. This is 1 pixel 5 feet, which I think works really well because you can use them as adventure maps. I ran the 3 adventures I'm running at the convention now. I have one huge map in Owlbear Rodeo made up of small element that I put together side by side. And I counted, it's 4,800 square miles in Owlbear Rodeo in one map. So I basically ran all 3 sessions on one map across
Okay.
the whole shebang. We just moved the tokens around through the whole scenario, and they walked 5 miles, and we put the party icon across the whole field. So we didn't jump from map to maps. All the players, it was like a road movie. Oh, we see this tree here, and we talk to that villager over there, and then we see this building, etc. So and you can get lost if you when you come to a fork in the road, you have to say, do we go this way or do we go
Huh.
that way? And you can literally get lost. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, so this is the goal, and I've made Southern Shield lands for my campaign at this level as a test range, so to speak. But the problem with this is that I wanted to do the whole of Greyhawk at this scale. The problem with this resolution, the problem was that the 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 technology is not really there yet. You can't do rivers and drain and render large areas effectively at this. So I had to compromise. So the next I worked hard to get this to work for like 5 years. But so next is that instead of 5 feet, I'm doing 100 feet per pixel.
Okay.
Because 100 feet is good enough that I can take the data and then make local maps with 5 feet per pixel easy from this. But I get the continental scale with this because here I can do 20,000 square miles in one go. And then the rivers and stuff will flow correctly over 20,000 miles or over 1,000 miles in every direction. So that means that and these are about 1,200 or so miles in either direction. So we're talking tens of thousands of more than 10,000 square miles in one map. at 100 feet per pixel. And 100 feet per pixel is good enough that you can see maybe roads, you can clearly see forests, not individual trees, but you can see what is a forest or not. You can see cities and towns and stuff like that. So it's good enough for overlay. If you want to travel across a kingdom and understand a kingdom when you're DMing and stuff, this is the perfect scale for that, for planning adventures, and you get the scope of things. And then what I intend to do is to publish more and more areas in detail at 5 foot per pixel. And also the raw data should be available so anyone can take this data and make their own local versions of it, because the technology is tricky now, but it's getting easier and easier and easier as time goes by, so to speak, and Moore's law goes forward and all that. So yeah.
Rift Canyon's filled with water.
Yeah, exactly. This is simply because I just put a blue texture on what was at the bottom, just to,
Funny.
this is
Yeah.
not textured at all. And there's some
Yeah.
other idiosyncrasies, but we will get more. So look at the next slide, and now we can get into the weeds with at least a primitive texture, so to speak. This is this is Shieldlands seen from,
Right.
if you're up 100 miles or 200 miles or something like that above the city of Greyhawk, look north. You can see the Woolworth Isle, Scragholm Isle, the Veng, and basically the whole of the Shieldlands in one go. So this is one area that I've taken in there. So this is a first test. So let's take a little bit of a deep dive into and see.
Okay.
So the next slide, we can see the coast of Shieldlands a little bit. Now you can zoom in because this one has a lot of detail on it. So this is 100 feet per pixel. The texture is not final. There is not much forest and stuff like that. It's just a basic, but the key bit here is to make sure that rivers flow downhill, they look natural, the drainage and elevation and stuff works. That's what I'm keen at in this stage, to get the height map should be really, really good, so to speak. So this is where you can, yep. So you can see stuff here from various parts, and they should look, and the water texture is not final yet either. So it's, but it's close to final. We're starting to get there. So this is the next generation of Greyhawk maps. In a couple of years, I've left down the whole setting at this scale, so to
Wow.
speak, at this resolution. Yeah. So, and I've done a lot of it. We have more slides to come here. So there is more cool stuff, so to speak. But and then yeah. So you can look, and again, it's 3D. So here we can look at the same area but seen from a perspective, so you can actually see the hills and stuff. And if you zoom in there where Critwall is, and see if you know your geography, there you go. There you can actually see Critwall. You can see Critwall. That's the city of Critwall on the map in 3D, with a bridge across the Veng and all of that, so to speak. And it's to scale. It's 100 feet per pixel. You can almost see individual buildings. It's like that tantalizing close. It's enough to get a feel for what a city looks like, and you can start planning encounters. You can have an idea of travel times, conditions. You can come up with cool stuff on the way. You can mark out where do you want the orcs to do their ambush, etc. and stuff. So that's the, and we can take a peek. We should have Critwall as a kind of a little benchmark when we got to the other maps here. But look at the bridge across the river. You can see it's actually elevated above the river. So
Right.
it's not super detailed. It's 1 pixel per 100 feet. So it's not individual buildings, but you can see where there are city blocks and stuff like that. So it's, and it's my latest version of I'm redoing Critwall with the bridge across the Veng and the right spots, so to speak. I forgot that one, the first one. So
Okay.
yeah, so that one is okay. Let's go to the next one here and see that. Yeah, there's more, Tom. We don't need to look at that one in super detail. It's just more of, and here we have, yeah, then we'll go to, let's see. Yeah, this is the whole shebang. From seen from the top at 100 feet per pixel. I'm not sure if you can zoom in and get detail. Otherwise, I have a zoomed
Yeah,
in
that
on
one's
the
not
couple of.
zoomable. That's weird.
No, it's exactly. Just then you can close it, because it depends on what software you're using. It's a 16. That's the full. So go to the next one, because that's the Critwall area zoomed in. So this one you can zoom in on. that other area, the whole shield land is at that. This is what crit wall looks like from the top at 100 feet per pixel. And this is an exact match to the other model, apart from I updated it with the bridge across the river and stuff. So you can actually see. So what I've done is that I'm going to update my more detailed model that has 5 feet per pixel that you can use for city maps. So my intention is to do the whole setting at this detailed.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the next 5-year project, so to speak, is to make the whole so we can do it. So then so I'm going to take it a bit like the old version I did, bit by bit, ask for feedback, put out some stuff so people can criticize me and we can kind of work on it. There's maybe a few more too many trees on this one. We'll see. So I have to go back and forth, but this is the new standard I want to have. So I want the old map to be replaced with this one, so to speak, gradually. So yeah. Hello, Justinius. Welcome. So that's the yeah. So you can zoom into any of the areas here, but I haven't rendered so many of the other cities and stuff yet. But every settlements and stuff I want. But the thing is that they're also layered. So that's where the Photoshop file comes in. So you can take one, and if you don't want a city there, you can wipe it out and re-render it again if you want to. So there is like, yeah, so there will be base terrain, texture, shading, and height data and all that. So I tend to put that on the server so you can download the data and make your own versions and tweaks and changes. And this is all created using Creative Commons, and I will switch to the BICE license, so you are able to do whatever you want with it. And just credit me that I'm the original source, and you can screw around with it any way you want. So yeah.
What's the Earth theory that you're talking about?
Yeah, there's a flat Earth as a theory going around. I'm not a proponent on it. I kind of like the spherical planet. So yeah. So I'm working hard on dispelling it. Yes. Yep, I'm working hard on dispelling that. So, and here's another look at a little bit closer up, and you can see the hills in the background and stuff, just to show that the height and stuff actually works, because that's a tricky bit when you work with it. You have to look at it from different angles, and there's one image coming later on where I actually test that so it looks believable, so to speak. But yeah, you can move to the next one there. So yeah. And we have Walworth Isle at a distance over there too. That is one of my tests there. Here's Scragholm Isle and stuff seen. And there you see Crit Wall again from another angle. And there's some of the small hills and stuff in my favorite part of the Shieldlands that we've been trudging along back and forth for more than 5 years now. So I'm starting to feel intimately familiar with this. It's just that this texturing is a bit primitive. I want to upgrade it significantly, so it will be better. It's a little bit too uniform, but it's just a base texture to get, so I know that, yeah, that it works. Yep. And here's basically the whole coast of the Shieldlands seen from roughly over Alhaster almost, or over Radagast City, and you look west, you have Scragholm Isle. Now I'm pointing at the screen here. I'm getting yeah, exactly. That's the Veng estuary and stuff there. So yep. And here is seen from the top of the White Plume Mountain and over west. Yeah. So I wanted to show that there are some, if people believe that Shieldlands is completely flat, it's not. It has hills and stuff, but a lot of them are not that tall. But there are a few, and I put them in deliberately because I wanted there should be a little bit of epic landscape and stuff, even in a dull place like the Shieldlands. So there's a couple. If you zoom in there are some interesting hills in the middle and stuff there that you can, yeah, that you can, and it has a fair bit of detail. So there you can put in some cool stuff up there and stuff. That's up where Ringland and other places are, and there's some rivers, and you can see that there's proper erosion, river banks, and stuff like that. And there you have another cool mountain where you can build a stronghold on top of and stuff. So when this is properly textured, I think it will look gorgeous. Yeah. And you put in a proper atmosphere and stuff and render it in Blender or something, it will look gorgeous. Yeah. Yep, and it's Shieldlands. This is the test. So if you zoom in here, this is taken at sea level, way out in the on the near Div. So that's Walworth Isle, and then it's Shieldlands coast. So this what it will look
Oh, it's
like
right there.
seen from
Okay.
So this is my way of testing that the elevations and stuff look plausible, because when you see them from the ground, they should look like a believable landscape. And this is my way of testing it. I actually place the camera on the surface of the near div, and then I look at so you have Shieldland and horizon shot from Shieldlands the whole way from one edge to the other, so one end to from west to east. Yeah, and it's similar because Shieldlands is very volcanous and geologically active in the east, and kind of boring and old flat in the west. So, and then gradually tapers off. So this is the Yellow Flow River, and I took kind of a screenshot. This is more to see that my rivers and stuff flow naturally, and the base for the texture and stuff is working. So yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. Yeah. So that's another one. So we can see that's the Yellow Flow River, and so the White Plume Mountain is up the
Oh, over.
to the
Yeah.
north and
Okay. Yep.
northeast there.
Yep.
So
A
yep.
little bit of it.
Hello, Draga here. Welcome. Yep. So, and Yellow Flow River is one of these that I wanted to be interesting, with a lot of twists and turns and stuff, because there's probably a lot of water coming from high in the mountains and stuff, and it's also kind of a rift valley a bit. So I wanted to make it geologically interesting, and there's tons of detail. There's so much cool places and little nooks and crannies. So Shieldlands is really cool. There's a couple of places there that I think that's where the Yellow Flow. Hang on a second. I need to have my campaign map up here so we can see. That's where the city of, or the town of. Hang on a second here. Now I need to get my geography right. That's Rayneld is there. So the town of Rayneld will be in the middle there, where that river flows out into, roughly there somewhere. Yep. That's Rayneld, and I'm starting to paint it in, so it's going to be, that's where I want it to be. So yeah. Exactly. The flat planets will be, yep. You have to ask someone who knows about that. I'm not a believer enough that I can tell you. But in a fantasy world, anything goes, so to speak. So yeah, these are just more. I forgot to took them out. I just took the whole shebang in here. So yeah. That's more on the southern coast near towards Critwall. That's my campaign area. I've been for over 5 years. We basically adventure 5 years. This is the Yellow Flow River seen from the effluvial swamp all the way down to the near Derb. So that's where the Thing Gizzard would have her hut in that area somewhere there on the left in the swamp there, swampy area at the yeah, and then you have the Yellow Flow, and this is screenshots that I take to make sure that the rivers actually flow downhill, so there's no bumps in the middle and stupid stuff. So yeah,
Never thought of it that. Never thought that. Yeah, that would be a
yeah. So
problem.
there's well, you can have in the fantasy world, you can have the occasional river that flows uphill, but I don't think regularly they should. I just put that in there because that's one. QGIS and GIS is one way you can use this data. Another obvious way is to put them in Unreal or another game engine, because then you can do really good stuff, cool stuff. So I want to do a world viewer in Unreal, and maybe even turning it into some form of I want to be able to tie a database to it and stuff, so you can put your stuff in, and maybe tie it into Obsidian. Maybe it will be awesome if you can have VTT connections or something. But it's something I'm working on, and Linda Booth is really helping me with that stuff.
Oh, okay.
So it's on the long-term goals. So think 5 years. Now it's time to look into some cool stuff. I showed a little bit of this on my Patreon blog a little while ago. So this is meaning the coolest place to map in Greyhawk must be Rift Canyon. There's nothing like it on Earth even. So this is my take, my first real take at Rift Canyon. And so this is a top-down shot where I combined all the different layers of data, because we have it's 200 miles long, a little bit longer than 200 miles, and it's also really deep. So remember that ocean data, that block that was 200 miles deep, that was not by coincidence, because I wanted to host Rift Canyon in full depth, both depth and height and stuff. And then I will get to some later coming after later on in the show here. There is more coming that makes this even cooler down the line, so to speak. But this is what's being done with current technology. So yeah, so this is first kind of putting the data together and taking a screenshot. And here we can look at it from a 3D angle. The erosion is not perfect yet. That's where the future version coming in, because I'm playing. I didn't get any good screenshot on that yet because I need to work on it a bit more. But there's new cool development. This is as far as I got so far. It's not perfect yet, but it's starting to be damn good, so to speak. This is the kind of vision I wanted to have for it. This is also 100 feet per pixel. So it's the full glory, so to speak. Yep, you can almost see the dinosaurs. Yep. In my case, there will be rift lizards or something like that. I guess I have to call them or something, or some sort of worm or drakes or something. Yeah, but anyway, there should be cool stuff there. And it comes in different depths, and if you zoom in a little bit, you should be able to see a little bit of erosion and stuff in places. So yeah, there's still some areas that are too straight like that, and that's something to fix in the next update. But most of it actually, I think, looks really cool and believable. So yeah, rift drakes, exactly. That's a species I want to have, a monster I want to have in the area. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Grim Sparkle. Yeah, this is what 30 years of, and this is what it looks like from the top, and you can see lighting, and it shows it full depth and full glory, so to speak. So I'm very happy with it. It's not perfect, but I'm 80% there, and thankfully now I soon will get a sharp version of the real tools to play with this and take it to the next level. But before we go into that, now we're going to show something that I haven't shown anybody yet.
Really?
You are the first guys to see this. And this is really cool. There's some new ones and some that I've hinted at. So let's go to the next one after that. So hopefully Jay got them all here. Yeah, this I wanted to for the Melf book and for my own campaign and for a whole bunch of other reasons. I wanted to head towards IUs and Horned Lands and cool stuff next to Shield Lands. So here are my first live tests of what I want the land, those twisted kind of abyssal infested areas of the world to look like. So these are my first solid experiments that got into the right era, so to speak, that I'm starting to feel confident. This starting to get the look that I want, chaotic and massive and impressive. It's enough that even someone who wants to build the Hollywood scene of that area for a movie, this is what I want it to look like, so to speak.
Yeah, this is the campaign cartographer. Get off my cloud.
Yeah, this is a software called World Machine that I'm done this in, and I've also used Gaia, Blender, Photoshop, Illustrator, and a bunch of stuff, QGIS, and so on. So I mainly use the same tools that scientists and real world cartographers use rather than fantasy stuff. So yep. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Snipes. Yep. Exactly. That Grim Sparkle. That's something I hope to be able to do in a not too distant future. Yep. Okay, go to the next one. And here is the first look at the Horned Lands. I think I've updated one version behind this, so to speak. So we're starting to get and there's too much water. That's where the Ophicum River, that's where the river valleys will be added in on the left there. They look like bay areas or something. That should be filled in with floodplains and stuff and meandering rivers and stuff, just like it was in the Shield Lands. So it's not textured yet. It's just my elevation. But this is where you get some of it. And it's not the final version. It's that's just the first kind of good look at it. So that's what an abyssal infestation will look like, so to speak. When you start taking over your land, you get these kind of really horrid, full of cracks and openings where anything can hide and spawn or whatever. And then that river is that northern one that flows into middle of the Hornlands, and then to the left, just outside the map, is where Dora Kai is.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. So, but of course, we can't stop there. We have to look at Doraka. So here comes the first glimpse at what the terrain around Doraka would look like. A little bit idea. Oh, sorry, that was one slide in between. This is a closer look up on the combination of what the abyssal terrain looks like. So the land of Ayus and stuff. It's infested with these kind of twisted, gnarly canyons that aren't eroded away. They're craggy and almost impossible to penetrate and to climb over. So razor sharp at places and probably full of holes, maybe a portal. You can fall in between two of them and you never know where you will end up, so to speak. And this is not full resolution either. This is just previews from World Machine, not final renders, not anywhere near. No, they're not textured yet or anything like that. Eventually they will be, yeah, if get lost there could be easy. But okay, let's look at Doraka. There we go. Here we go. This is the land of Ayus, seen from the northwest. So you have the Still Lake on the left down there, and so if you zoom in, the big blue area that's the Oppic River Valley, and that needs a little bit of work in that area. But look at the Doraka area. So you move up a little bit, and further down there you have Doraka area with lots of the further up north among the mountains. Yeah, that's where Doraka is, surrounded by these horrid abyssal peaks and stuff. So it doesn't really need a city wall per se. It has these kind of craggy going abyssal mountains going around it, so to speak, that are really, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the highest mountain. I don't have it being White Plume Mountain. I want to have it maybe, I want to have competing. My idea is that there are probably peaks in the Crystal Mist Mountains or the Hawktales. I have those as the two highest ones. And then probably the Griff or the up there on the Theronian Peninsula as a good third, so to speak. And then you have barrier peaks. There's a lot of contenders, but I will put my money either on the Hawktales or the Crystal Mists as being the tallest. But they have so many peaks that no one really knows. And in a fantasy world, you have to go up there and measure using some magic or something, or you have to bring your theodolite and stand like they did when they measured Mount Everest in the 19th century. You stand there with theodolites and then you travel 50 miles in another direction and you take a new measurement and you triangulate the peak, so to speak. You can do that in a fantasy world too. So that is something, but it's a heck of a lot of work because there's like thousands of peaks and they're all high up. So those are my top candidates, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a great question. So yeah, those are some of the peaks. Now we're looking into the future a bit because one of the problems when you use height maps, meaning grayscale maps, is that things can only move in the verticals. You can't have overhangs or anything like that. And a lot of mountains look like this. They have overhangs, and especially when you have canyons like the Rift Canyons and others, you want to have overhangs. And that was one of the problems, huge limitations with current height mapped technology that I've been using with World Machine and Gaia and stuff. They work using height maps only. And that has been a huge limitation. And I've been corresponding back and forth. And thankfully, I'm on the alpha test team on stuff. So now there is coming. Now you will have vertical or vector displacement. So you can displace things not only vertically, but horizontally as well in any direction. And that opens up for some really cool stuff. So if you have this cliff, that's what you can have overhangs and stuff in like Rift Canyon, and you can have nooks and crannies under, etc. So go to the next slide and we'll see what that could look like in the next World Machine. So here you can do it. Now there's version where you can actually do cool stuff like that. You can make overhangs, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff like that. And that opens up with erosion and a whole bunch of cool stuff. So you can open up for a new world of possibilities. And I'm thinking the obvious ones is to map like local area maps or detailed maps with overhangs and stuff. So exactly. Yep. Yep.
I was
I'm
about to
trying my
now it's
best here. So
now it's
yep.
spectacular.
hmm Yep. So one of the key bits here is to try and use new technology for future use, so to speak. Yeah. And one obvious way of using this is to map the Underdark. So you can start mapping stuff. So you can both map the Underdark, meaning caves with stalactites and stalagmites and all cool stuff. So this is experiments we did with where you can actually twist things and you can make overhang. And these can be exported as vector maps in 3D geometry and put into Unreal and stuff like that. So now I'm thinking, meaning if you want to map the caves of the or the Slerotin's tunnel and stuff in detail over a large area, that will be possible. And also to make a proper map of the Rift Canyon with a proper 3D map, not just straight like this, but actually overhangs and all cool stuff, so to speak. We can map dragon layers and stuff in 3D. So that's something that is possible. I'm seeing dungeon maps. And another area that I think this could be really useful is mapping other places. If you want to map hell, the layers in the abyss, and all sorts of cool stuff, you can even map large scale doing really, really cool stuff with this. And so there is the clearly a really cool possibility. So I'm playing with an early alpha of this, and and uh, and it's starting to work. It's far from perfect yet. It's not production ready, but it's going to be. And combine this with game engines and stuff, and yeah, we can do some really cool stuff. Not only like rooms, but on large scale. Think Rift Canyon, Slerotin's tunnel, map a layer of the abyss and stuff. What does Mesa Fragdun, that is Grasset's home layer or home layer in the abyss, what that looks like and stuff. The pits of hell, whatever. So you can really play and do some fun, cool stuff with this.
What a
So yeah.
time to have this happen. I'm feeling like
Oh,
crap.
but it's okay. I'm
Yeah.
babbling here, so
All
you're
right.
good.
All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
you're good. Yeah, you can go to the next one here.
Sure.
So yeah. And here's some more examples of what you could do. Oh yeah,
Oh,
this
wait, wait. I'm way off. I'm way off. My bad.
oh, it's
Okay.
okay. No
One
worries.
sec.
We take your time. We have an whole hour to go here. So yep. And this is a test, a small little test to see that you can actually get snowfall to fall things properly on top of it. So you
Oh,
can
wow.
map all sorts of cool stuff here. So and then go to the next one and you can see even more details. So then you can upscale it from just like little pile. And here you can actually have an overhang, a cliff with overhangs and stuff with proper snow model on top of it. So this technology can handle a lot of really cool stuff: sand, snow, lava, all sorts of cool things you can imagine in the stuff, so to speak. So in the future we can do cool mountains, Underdark, city maps, all sorts of awesome cool stuff. You can think of one of these. You have the think like Veralos that is built on the edge of a cliff or built into a cliff. This is the kind of tool you want if you want to map a place like that, or Rift Crag in the Rift Canyon or something like that to be able to. So that's why I'm holding off on making. I'm going to make Rift Canyon right now from the top down using height maps, and then come back to it, make detailed maps of that one in a few years when this has become production ready in a couple of years. And the cool thing is then you can put it into vector format and it can be 3D objectified and put into Unreal and all sorts of stuff. This is what you can do with rocks when you texture them. So you can imagine on the small scale for local maps, adventure maps and stuff, but for large scales, for planner maps and all sorts of awesome stuff. So you can, that's the beauty of tools like World Machine and others. You can work in a lot of different scale. And now World Machine is scaling in, so you could do things from centimeters to thousands of miles. And so there is a lot of cool possibilities here. So I intend to start getting, yeah, yep. So yeah, well, in the future, no one knows. Your campaign might screw up and do a whole bunch of cool stuff, so to speak. So that was a little bit what I'm doing, a little bit what I'm at, so to speak. But here's a project that has got stayed for a month because I needed to plan for this, 2 conventions and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But when I get back home from Game Hall, I'm going to start doing an hour or two every other day in the sources database. I have all the a lot of the provincial political data or the countries, provinces, and stuff. Now I'm moving into cities, and then we get all the rivers and all the mountains and everything. So all the geography, all the names and data that is on my map is going to be in this database. So you can find it, you can find links to things, you find sources and stuff like that. So I'm that is something that is going to grow. So there is like, what is it, 400 or 500 names in there, and I want to have that will be probably 10,000 names and stuff before I'm done with. So
Jeez.
I want to have it to be the geography database, and that's also on my Notion site. So it's hidden away a little bit because it's just early alpha, so it's not fully ready. I'm just using it to put the data in there. So, and you can download it in an Excel spreadsheet format and stuff. I've also make it once it's done, I will make it available as a spreadsheet, an Excel file from my website as well, so you can have your own local version and search through it and stuff. And then complete it. When I get things in QGIS, when I put cities, I can put latitude and longitude in here. So that way you can use it for other stuff too. Like in Obsidian and other tools, you can actually get the dots to pins to automatically populate maps and stuff due to the location data. So that's another bunch of stuff there. So that's a project that is been ongoing for about a year, setting it up and start getting it going.
Mm.
So now I hope that I can start doing even more regularly, put stuff in there. It's not putting it in, it's the researching every damn name where it comes from. That's the thing that takes time. Some of it
Lots of
it's
time.
super, yeah, some of it is done in 5 minutes. A couple of them take 3 hours before I've found out where the heck that name is from and what the sources are. Is even one name that escaped me. Okay, so here we go. Now we have Meyerhawk. That's simply the logo, the term I put on things that I come up with. That it's not a seal of quality, it's more like a warning label. Because if you see that I post something and I label it Meyerhawk, that means that I come up with it. It's built on published sources for the most part, but it's something that I come up with. So you know that it's something that Anna came up with. So if you want to, please use it. It's free to use. It's just that it's a warning label, so you know that there will be like more kind of official fan made, but that has the official sources and other fan kind of vetted content, so to speak. And then there will be my campaign version that has gone off on various tangents here and there. So it's more like a warning label that I put on stuff. So and the same thing goes in the sources database. You can filter in or out my stuff if you want to. So there, my stuff will go in there, but it will have a label Meyerhawk. So you can simply say, oh, I don't want to see Anna's stuff. So then you can just filter it away and see the stuff, or you can keep it depending on, so to speak. So I will add all of it in one database. Okay, so
Oh, I
here we
skipped
have,
something.
oh, you skipped the heraldry. Yeah, more
Oh,
heraldry.
yeah.
So far I've done 400 something shields. All in all, and I'm still working on more. I was supposed to have all the IUCN heraldry. I didn't make it more than a few, so I'm going to show one here, that the one you showed there. But so I've done over 400, and yeah, we all love our maps. That's yeah,
Uh-huh.
as players. And I put the Meyerhawk here because a lot of this, most of these 400 is are they are based on designs, official designs and stuff. But I added my flair to them. I They're only originally like 30 or 40 or something. The rest of most of the 400 are my own design or interpretation of other designs and stuff. So ideas. And I must, there is a slight warning label. Some of these I've used AI to concept them because I wanted symbols and stuff, but it's heavily photoshopped, and I've spent at least 2-3 hours on each of them in Photoshop and stuff to make them. So there is at least 90% my own Photoshop doodling in these.
Right.
But I have to warn, some of them I use AI to simply, I wanted an inspiration for a symbol, and that way I can spawn up something interesting, and then I can work on it, so to speak, and use it. So
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, so I just want to warn you from that one. This one is interesting. This is At-ur Remat, one of Ayu's generals, and it's his shield. And he was originally from the wolf nomads, and then he was a defector, and he took up arms in with Ayus, and so I based it. It is an old wolf nomad shield that he kind of kept the wolves and stuff in the background, and then it's a dead wolf
Yeah.
skull with
I see that.
demonized wolf skull on top of it, so to speak. So I thought that was appropriate for him to acknowledge both his background, that he's like basically screwing them over, and he's now a dead wolf that is gone to new heights, so to speak.
Yeah, I
So
really like that one.
oh, thank you. Yeah. So I, this is, and I wanted to show that's my latest approach to heraldry. So I tried to come up, what would that cool heraldry look like? So there are different traditions. The Ayusians and stuff are all over the
Hey,
place,
Rob.
and others are more orderly and stuff like that. So in Atu Reamat, he's his own guy partially, so to speak. So he wanted his own cool. Yeah. Thank you, Rob. So yeah.
Hey, there's Carlos. We'll be raiding into Carlos upon our
Yeah.
completion here.
Yeah. Hello,
See you, man.
Carlos. Yeah. So that is now we have 45 minutes. Let's go to 40 minutes or something. So
I imagine there's gonna be a lot of questions and answer
oh
sessions.
yeah, so yeah, so please. So yeah. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Snipes. So yeah, so there's lots of them, and I have more coming for IUs. There will be about 30 or so for IUs. I want to make Althea, Halga, and Wayne, and all the other ones, so to speak. So at that level of quality. So that's why it takes like a day or so to do some of them, because I have to read the research of the person in question, or the creature in question, and then try to figure out the story where it fits in politically and stuff. Because heraldry is like a political tool. It's like the fantasy medieval way of advertising yourself. Do you want to look orderly and good aligned or whatever, or do you want to look like a faithful adherent to someone? Do you serve someone? Do you want to scare the enemy primarily and stuff like that? So, and do you want to show off your family heritage, who you loyalty, who is under you, etc. So these are things that I put in, and then you have like different traditions and stuff. Okay, so now we have some time to talk about Hawktales. I thought it would be time because I'm running Hawktales now, and people start asking me questions and stuff. I run roughly 100 sessions with Hawktales now, if you include things that are reasonably full sessions, so to speak. So I'm on the second alpha. I've been working on it since 2019. That's when I started to realize that now just house ruling. I called the project was house rules. That was the original. Like, okay, I set a bunch of house rules, but then I realized that now this is going deeper than house rules. So I more and more, and then I finally settled on the working name of Hawktales, and I don't know, it might be something eventually, something else, but that was that's the working name at least. And I put the CC BY icon on the instead of a copyright icon, because my intention with this is to give it all away, just like my Greyhawk maps. I want this to be a rule system for homebrewers primarily. So if you want a rule system for your Greyhawk game, or for your some other rule system, and you love to tinker and stuff, you can download the whole thing, and it will be available in Markdown, PDF, and so on. So you can download it and tinker around with it yourself eventually. So the right now is the first alpha was more like my first building blocks to kind of see if the different building blocks were functioning together? Do the spell system work with the specialization system with the whatever? So that was more like a play test. So I ran about 30 or 40 games that way to get the basic building blocks to work. And then the second alpha is to make these building blocks function as a whole, so to speak, together properly, and also to fill in the gaps. So now I have a system that is almost complete. I would say 80, 90% of being a full rule system that can take any character from 0 to 20. And then on top of that, that will be like a next set of 10 levels on top of that. So my goal is to bring it to 30, but that's like in old basic D&D. That's the immortal set at the end, so to speak. So I don't expect that to be something that will be useful for players much, but it's more for GMs because that's how you create gods. But I want the rules to be the same for everybody, player or god, whatever. There's no difference. It's just your power level in the world, but the rules are the same.
Cool.
Yep. So that's the premise. A lot of people say it's a heartbreaker when you do this, but I don't expect to earn money. So I'm expect
Okay.
to so we'll see. But it's I've already got a lot of people interested in publishing it, so we'll see. But it's way too early. So the roadmap is to take this to beta to have a public alpha out next year. And then we'll see if there will be 1 or 2 alphas before we go into beta. And beta is where I add the fluff text to things, meaning all the text on how to create a character and stuff. This is raw rules and no explanations or anything like that. So yeah, baby steps. Yep. Okay, so let's look a little bit at what this works. It's D&D semi-compatible in that sense that if you play D&D from any edition, from first edition to fifth edition, you will feel fairly at home. You almost all the things that you used to are there, and then some. Meaning your 6 ability scores are there, but then there are 3 more ability scores on top of that or beside it. Spells are, you can cast your fireball and your magic missiles and stuff like that, but there are a bit more bells and whistles attached to it. So if you start as a 0 level character, wander around the village and kill rats and stuff, it will feel very similar to D&D. But as you level up and get more advanced and stuff, then there's more and more stuff attached to it that comes with it, so to speak. So um, you can convert things, but it requires a little bit of converting because there are some extra stuff here that needs to be converted a little bit back and forth. But I've taken basically the D&D SRD and converted it into Hawktales, so you can definitely convert back and forth. It would not be difficult, but it requires a bit of conversion. It's a bit like going from second edition to third edition D&D. There was a lot of new concept and stuff in there. So yeah, exactly. The term heartbreaker. So I'm well aware of it. And people have told me many times that I will break my heart over it, but I don't see it more than it's a tool for me primarily to run my games the way I want them run. But I realize that now that other people might want to use the same tool as well. So that way now I get the chance to publish it for free digitally. And then if it's successful and I get more and more people want it, maybe a Kickstarter down the line to get some art and proper professional editing and stuff and so on. But that's first I need to write the rules and people should like it first. And if they do, then we'll see in some years to come. So yeah. Okay, but here we come. So it's the big difference between Hawktales and classic D&D is the classes. There are no classes in here. So, and that was deliberate because I wanted to take away stereotypes. Classes are fantastic when you want to learn a game. If you want to talk about a game and if you want to easy to get into, classes are fantastic. I completely understand why classes are there. And I also loved classes to have had them for years. But the last 10 years, I felt like, no, I want every character to be multi-class. And I want that to be the norm. The thing is that I can introduce classes afterwards as kits that you simply, these are the features you build together to build a standard fighter, etc. So you can build that in mechanically afterwards, but I don't want to put that in from the start, so to speak, because classes, the characters are designed for what they function. You can play a warrior, but that will be a job you have in the world. Whether you have sneak attack or not, that's up to you. Meaning, do you want to be the best swordsman in the world, or do you want to be more geared towards be able to kill someone secretly in back alleys or something like that? Or do you want to ride a horse and meet someone out in the open field? You can kind of gear your warriorness in various direction depending on, so to speak. And so it's more like, so if you meet some NPC or some monster or some, meaning not all wizards are the same and not all fighters are the same. Someone can backstab you, others can't. Someone can snipe at a distance using a bow or a crossbow. Others are not that good at it, so to speak. So there's more ways to slice and dice things in that sense. So I want gameplay and player agency to guide what the characters end up doing. Not like, oh, you're a wizard, so when you start playing this, that means that you would never learn how a sword works, so to speak, or something. You can you can mix and match things as you go, so to speak.
Yep.
Exactly. So yeah. But there is a caveat that you can actually kind of create classes afterwards. So that might be a class supplement. And one of the things is that this will be geared for homebrewers primarily. So published under Creative Commons by and and also PDF, web, and Markdown are the formats I'm aiming at. So this will be available as a database online. You can download it as PDFs and Markdown to use in Obsidian and other
Yeah,
tools. So
Jeff.
you can
Something like
download.
with the skill trees, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little, yeah, oh yes, it's a bit like skill tree. So if you say that I want to learn to wild shape, that means that first you have to take the nature skill, that you have to take nature expertise. And once you have nature expertise, then you can say, well, then you can start dabbling and say, I can learn to convert into a fox, for instance. And then you can take it from there and say, I want to learn something a little bit more advanced. I will get more features, like able to cast magic in my wild shape and wild shape more thoroughly to really become a fox, stay, or something like that. I want to be more powerful. I want to be able to use my magic. I want to get the special senses that animals have and stuff like that. So you can, that will be a lot of feats so you can be more advanced than that. Same thing with take smiting, for instance. Smiting requires first you have to learn religion. You have to get a deity to sponsor you, so you get that feature. You have to be able to be an expert at using whatever weapon you want to use. When you have these things, then you go and ask your deity, please, can you give me the power to smite? And if the god is benevolent and like you, so to speak, or not benevolent, but like you, then you learn to smite. And in the beginning, you can smite a little bit, then you can smite more and more, and eventually you might be able to do really cool deeds with smiting. But that also means that you have to give up something else because there's only XP is the budget. So you spend XP where you want to. So if you choose to learn something, that also means that you choose not to do something else.
Interesting.
So that means that some clerics might be able to smite, some fighters might be able to have a few clericals. So war priest becomes war priest, paladin, and fighter. That will be and full cleric will be a fluid thing. That will be like I'm in the religious, I'm in Heronian, and I'm out fighting for Heronios. That might be that I'm just fully decked out in spells and I can handle a few weapons like my sword and my battle axe, or I'm the sword master and the axe master who have a few spells or just smite, or I can do lay on hand, I can do some spells. So you can mix and match the different tones of your character, so to speak. Exactly. That's the out. Yep. That's awesome. Okay, so go to
Huh?
the next one here. This is a key point, so to speak, in fantasy physics. A lot of rule systems, they are based on fancy rules mechanics. But I did the opposite in Hawktales. I was like, I was thinking, what do I want to accomplish in the world? So I started with what is fantasy physics, and then try to emulate that in a simple way possible. So it comes with simple mechanics, but lots of them, and there are few exceptions. So that's so it's a different approach that is probably harder to do, and it's also less interesting in the way of making cool game mechanics, because I don't like cool game mechanics, but I like things that, meaning I know what outcome I want. So now it's about to simulate. So go to the next slide, because that one tells. And also that physics is tying things together, like magic, the planes, and all of how things work, the life forces and stuff. And outcome, simulate outcome and not process. That was one of the key aspect in this. And that's a bit like I've experienced with military simulation and flight simulation, where you have millions of data points that can affect an outcome. It's simulation means that you have to simulate something, means that you don't try to put every aspect in. You just try to figure out, okay, the outcome can be from this to this, and its outcome usually happens between these two poles. Then I wanted the simplest mechanic that can give that outcome. Instead of having fancy stuff and have 10 different modifiers to things, I put a much more unified rule system, and then that can get a lot of interesting outcomes, so to speak. So the building blocks are simple, but when you start putting them together, they become complicated. And that is a bit of a different approach, because a lot of game systems, like, oh, I have these cool mechanics for initiative or for action economy and stuff, and I kind of went the other way and say, what are the simplest way I can handle things and still get the building blocks generate a myriad of outcomes. So the final results is really hard to simulate, but it's, so you have a lot of cool stuff in there, but each of the building blocks are simple, so to speak. So it's a little bit of a different approach, but using the same building blocks from D&D. And you see in the background there, you see the some of the building blocks of this. You have 9 abilities. You have the 3 physical abilities that we have from D&D, and the 3 mental ones. You have your strength, dex, con, and then int, wisdom, and charisma. But then you have 3 metaphysical ones. And those build, and I use comeliness as a name of one of them. It's not exactly comeliness from old AD&D, but close, so to speak. It's a different, that takes your standing in the world, so to speak. And then presence, that means that how much life you have, and also taint, that means that how much brushes with death or evil gods and stuff like that you had in your life, so to speak. And in your existence, I need to say, because some things aren't live, but they still have stats. And then you can go to different realms in the world where different things mean different stuff. So if you work in the mental realm, for instance, your physical abilities mean nothing. And in the mental realm, it's basically only charisma that really means something. Intelligence and wisdom means a little bit, but charisma is the big thing. And then if you're out in the outer, go to the outer planes, then your metaphysical becomes really important. The same thing with life and death. When you die, your comeliness and your taint becomes everything for you, because they guides where you will end up and who will come for you, and for good and bad, so to speak. So that's a lot of the stuff. And also the skills, you see there's 4 basic skills: athletic, influence, and insight, and tinker. Those are the 4 skills that covers everything. And saving throws and stuff is also using the skills. And then there are expertise to this thing. So you can add on your insight, you can add planner, tracking, and stuff like that if you want to. But anybody can track, for instance. You don't need tracking. It's just that if you want to be really good at it, you can get expertise on top of it, so to speak.
Okay.
Yep. So that is yeah, and game loops. A lot of normal D&D works has really detailed, cool rules for like a round, an encounter, a day maybe, and a little bit of downtime. But I wanted to have rules for, and that's why the metaphysics. So death saves are guided, for examples, are guided by your presence. So if you fail a death save, that's permanent. That's part of your character's record for that character's existence. And if you're a human that have an essence of soul, if you have a soul, then you will get one presence or one new death save per level that you level up. But if you're a gray elves and you have spirits, then you will only have one presence, but you will gain a level of comeliness every level. So that characters that are made out of that don't have souls, that they have spirits or something else, they function mechanically different. And that's when it gets interesting when you get into things like Dark Souls, like liches and stuff. Liches don't rest. They literally take taint. So when they cast evil spells and screw up things for others, they get energy from it. So wrecking things and causing mayhem and stuff, that's their livelihood, so to speak. They thrive on it. So be wary of some of these undeads that go around doing evil stuff, because they can go on doing forever until they're stopped or fall apart. So there is mechanically things that happen throughout the career of your character. So you have every failed death save is an increase in taint, which means that your death save bonus goes down and you lose but you also gain. So there's ways around it maybe, but it can complicate things. And exertion is your currency that you use for various features like lay on hands, turning, fancy maneuvers, and stuff like that. Spellcasters have slots if they are advanced, prepared spellcasters. But when you run out of slots, you can use exertion. When you run out of that, you can use hit points. And when you run out of that, you can literally cast spells until you die. So if you want to, it's a bit like DCC in that way. You can technically go on until you die. So it's a greedier game, but not necessarily deadlier. So yeah. So that's part. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yeah, and that was game loops. And here's a couple of stat blocks. So we have the simple skull crow stat block here. So a couple of little things you see in the beginning. The types vary a little bit down the certain things are he's a fiend, a yegid. That means that he's coming from the abyss, and he's an animal or creature that is born out of the abyss, so to speak. Tanari and some of the others, but he's like a small. He doesn't have any roots in and so he's like a created thing that comes from the abyss. So I put together a bunch of them like that, and then you have a CR. You have hit dice and hit points just like others, and you have the 9 abilities. Oh, I forgot to add comeliness on this one. Sorry, I haven't updated it to the latest alpha. So comeliness and taint and stuff should be there. So go to the next stat block, because I think that one is more complete. Yep, the next one is more complete.
I think that's
This
the last
is
slide too.
yeah, it's the last one. Yep. So this is the Blackmore Wolf. It's Kestmo, that is a follower of Ottoman that is played in the two the adventure I ran today and the adventure I ran will run tomorrow. Final battle, so to speak. And otherwise it looks fairly simple. The player makes a defense roll instead of the DM making an attack roll. So that is simply because I wanted the math is the same. It's just that if the trouble of making the roll is on the player's side. So if the player rolls 1 on their defense save, on the defense roll, that means that the monster crits. And if they roll 20 on the defend, that means that the monster is screwing up things. So the monster's attack bonus becomes the DC you're going to attack, and your armor class is the bonus you get on the roll. So mathematically it's the same. It's just that as a GM, I don't have to keep rolling all that stuff. That's on the player side. So I counted this scenario on. We went on for almost 3 hours this morning. I rolled 6 times.
Wow.
In the whole scenario. The rest of the players rolled the rest. Exactly. It keeps the players busy. And that was the other thing. So instead of the player sitting like this and the DM works like crazy when the monsters go, the players do most of the rolls. As a GM, you just decide what the monster is doing and provide the DCs, and the players, you say, oh, make a defense roll DC 18, for instance, or 15 or whatever it is, and then you have an active defense or a passive defense, and then you can have one with a shield if you have a shield or not. Active defense means that you see the attack coming and you can defend yourself. You're not helpless, or someone is not stabbing you from behind or something like that. But if you're surprised, you can't see the attack coming, then it's a passive defense. And the main difference is that you can use your dexterity bonus or not. But there are also some armor, some spells and stuff might make a difference depending on if you're like some magic armor and stuff like that. So some things and other armors and stuff, they boost your passive defense as well as your active defense. So it varies a bit. So these are the basic stuff, so to speak. So that's why a lot of the stuff on the stat blocks for the GM is provide both as a die roll and as a DC. So sometimes I want to make the roll as a GM, then I can do that, or I can just provide the DC for the player to say you have to roll over this, otherwise the troll will come and get you. This is an abyssal troll. That is one of the monsters they will face in this adventure. So he's a CR8, I think. A real nasty guy. Yep. And prowess is one of the terms that I'm introduced because I wanted a more generic term for how good you are in combat. So it's basically your combat proficiency. Normal characters can go up to 5. And so a normal non-trained person has 1 in prowess, and that means that you have 1 attack per round. And instead of making lots of attacks, you just get more damage dice. So that is a way of speeding it up. Instead of rolling or like rolling a bunch of different hits, you just pile on more damage. So you get damage die for each attack. You can either spend all of that on attacking one character, or you can spread them out over multiple enemies if you want to. And the other key thing with prowess is that the higher prowess you are, the more enemies you can fight at the same time. So if you're a villager or a low-level character with only prowess 1, you can fight 1 enemy and no problem. But if you meet 2 enemies attacking you at the same time, you get a disadvantage on your defense rolls. So the enemy is much easier to hit you. But as the prowess goes up, you can face more and more enemies without having a problem with getting you still defend yourself normally. That's like flanking, but built into the system. But this guy, this is so ferocious, this troll, that he has a prowess of 6. That means that if even a fairly seasoned warrior that has prowess 2, that will be like your mid-level wizard or your low-level fighter or someone like that who has some reasonable combat training. He will also have to use a disadvantage at his defense roll because this troll is so ferocious. And if you take big things like huge dragons and stuff like that, they might have a prowess higher than 6 or close to 10. And that means that almost everybody have to make defense rolls at a disadvantage because they comes really nasty, and they also have long reach, and that combination can be really deadly. So what the defense against that is to get good armor, but also to gang up on an enemy, so to speak, because you can overwhelm someone. So one-on-one, a lot of creators are really good, but once 1 versus many, even a big fighter has a problem. And then we get into armor, because armor has hardness, minimum beatings, and a death save bonus. So armor helps you in many different ways. It doesn't give you a better armor class normally. Magical armor can, and shields, they bring up your armor class and make you harder to hit. But normal armor only make you able to take more damage, so to speak. So the hardness is the amount of damage it will remove. But there's a little minimum, so armor always lets some damage through. So, and that was my little safety event, so to speak, because I wanted even the most fierce warrior to be scared of a bunch of villagers with pitchforks. So
Understood.
that way you have minimums. So even if you don't reach up to, in this case, to like hardness of 10, so even if you only do 5 damage, you do at least 2 points of damage on this one. If you do 2 or more, you get 2 damage. So you always do a little bit of damage. If you hit something, you do at least 1 point of damage, regardless. But above that might be hard at times, so to speak. So you do a little bit. So if you want to kill a dragon, you have 2 ways. Either you send in the best fighter in the country with the right equipment to face the dragon head on, or you send in a whole bunch of brave adventurers that run up the dragon at the same time, hoping that they together can bring it down. So and the stats for armor and other stuff provides both options are viable by the numbers, so to speak. And what I did when I started to figure out these numbers, I put the theoretically most badass fighter possible and put him in and calculated in a spreadsheet how much damage could a fighter do that has all the benefits, crits all the crits and do all the stuff and have the best equipment. He could do like 1200 points or something like that of damage in a round. That was the theoretical maximum. And then I realized, okay, then I put the dragons at roughly 1200 hit points. So meaning the best fighter in the world with the best equipment, the dragon slaying spear and the whole shebang, he crits, he should be able to kill a great red worm in one shot them, so to speak. That should be possible. But the problem is that if you then the local little whatever, then you don't stand a chance. Or they should also work if you have like a party of 8 adventurers that are like 10th level, they should also be able to gang up on a dragon and fight it to death, so to speak. And the dragon should also be able to one shot that awesome adventure in one go and kill anything with 1 round as well. If that warrior that runs up, if he's really unlucky and fumbles, and the dragon crits, then that fighter should be yeah. So those were the numbers that I went through. So it was a lot of juggling the numbers in the beginning. That was the first alpha, and now the second alpha when the base numbers work. Now I'm trying to put the stuff together without screwing up the original numbers too much. So yeah. So that's a lot of the ideas. And so far this session we had today was a lot of fun. So yeah. So we've had some good. There's
Very
been
cool.
of course there's some pitfalls, and there's still pitfalls that we probably need to change. One of them, I'm still thinking about having segmented initiative. That will be a dream if I can make it work, but I have to test it. So we'll see. But so far I use a very simple. You just ease into it. Every creature has a initiative modifier. So the ones with the highest goes first, but the ones with lower can challenge it, spend an exertion, challenge the initiative you make in a post roll, and then you see who goes. So I want it to flow as quickly as possible and with a myriad of outcomes, so to speak. And it should be easy to understand, devilishly difficult to master. That is my 2 goals with it, so to speak. You should be able to understand it, start playing fairly easy, but it should take a lifetime to master or be almost impossible to master. It should have a lot of depth to it. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now I babbled for 2 hours
No,
here.
that's
So yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Because I'm having some trouble here. I can barely talk. So
Oh, that
yeah,
no worries.
long
I've
time I had a
been.
cold
It
coming
was
on.
my
So
show. It was my time to
yeah,
babble. So yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
So thank you everyone who put up
uh,
with this. Any
yeah, let's go with
questions more,
questions. What
whatever. Yeah.
questions do we have? Any questions on anything relating to Anna? Please ask.
Anything, whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Please ask away.
Yeah, we can have this as a little midpoint and go over if you have questions about the conventions and stuff like that too. So yeah. Yeah. So
Normally,
I
there's a
hope I
ton of
covered.
questions. It's probably
Yeah.
it's probably right around dinner time. It's probably a lot of a lot of people are like,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
eating.
Yeah. Yeah, that too. So yeah, and it's a bit like when I've had similar things at the convention. There've been some people like, "Oh, I want to go and learn how to do dungeon maps," and then I talk for 2 hours, and they sit shell shocked, and it's like,
Yeah.
"I have no idea about this. What should I do?" So to speak. So, oh, thank you, Fosco. Yeah, yeah. This is, yeah. I love to work with this stuff, and I love to now that I'm in the situation that thanks to so many of you patrons supporting me, I can keep doing this stuff and I can give it away for free. That's a privilege to be, so to speak. Yeah, that's a good question. So far, it's been the first alpha was completely internal. The second alpha this spring, I will publish it on my website, my Patreon blog, and my Notion. That you will be able to download PDFs and Markdown and stuff. It's coming this spring. It's coming the rules, and it will be just the raw rules. There will be no fluff text and explanations and stuff like that because it's just an alpha. So the alpha will be out so you can start playing with it and see what the heck I'm doing and all the wrongs and problems and stuff like that. And then the after that I will start working on either I will decide that might need more polishing or more fundamental changes. So there might be an alpha 3 like next in a year's time from now, like next winter or something. Or we might be just minor tweaks, and if those minor tweaks can be done, then might be time to move into a beta, because if it's stable enough that we don't need to remove any major building blocks and put them in. If all the fundamentals is reasonably good, that's when I can move into beta. That's writing guides for how to make characters and stuff like that, so to speak, the little bit of the fluff. And then have a beta, hopefully beta by mid next year or something like that.
Yeah.
That will be,
Every stream goes to YouTube. Every single one.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. So that's the goal of having a beta out by mid next year or sometime next year, and then having that
Yeah.
out
Thanks for
there,
that.
and after that it's time to start looking into future, and both the alpha and the beta will be digitally published, PDF available on the web and markdown. Those are my goals. And if you look more long term, if this is interested and there's more than a few hundred players who like it, then people might say that, oh, what about publishing and stuff? That's when I have to start making ideas of maybe run a Kickstarter to get art, professional editing, and stuff like that in the future. But first, it needs to be uh, stable enough that we know what we're playing with, so to speak. And yeah, and the idea is that you should be able to download the whole shebang and make your own version of it, add your own monsters, your own spells, and tweak things. That's the idea. Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's almost feature complete now. And then I have ideas for future expansions, like more about gods and stuff. Take, for instance, the essence thing. The difference between mortals and gods is that gods have multiple essences. They have an essence in multiple aspects. So the basis for a lot of the expansions is there. Cerebral magic, that's psionics, like mental magic. I already have the basics for those rules. What happens after death, for instance, that is things that I want to not include early on in the alpha and beta, but keep those rules under wraps a bit, and also rules for settlements, campaign play, and stuff like that. Because I want the basics to stand firmly on its own first, and then we can expand with those other rules down the line. Because I want the rule system to tie into my maps and stuff, so you can play things and stuff. And I also want VTT support. I'm working with Questline VTT, is a new VTT that I really like. I haven't gotten around to having, but I want the alpha next year to be included in Questline, so I can start running it properly online more efficiently. So that will be a way to get it too, and it doesn't cost much and stuff. But also, since it will be available for free, so it would be awesome if someone else can just put it into Foundry or wherever you want, so to speak. So yeah, so the idea is to give it away, and that's thanks to you patrons that gives me the possibility to do it full time. So yeah.
Just checking to see if Carlos
Hmm.
is going to be
Yeah.
at 8. Just send him a message to see if he responds. All right. So this is what's coming up. Carlos will be on at
Yeah.
8
Mm-hmm.
tonight, and then day 3.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you, Mr. Snipes.
uh,
Yep.
goes like this.
Yep.
So start out with and the ever mysterious Tim will be DMing Riders on the Storm. He tells me there's 10 players. I'm just gonna sit there and produce it and say, "Go
That's
have
awesome.
at it." I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me when to move maps.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
tens a lot. So that'll be on the channel, and then say Chuck will be on at 8 as well. Rob Phantom will be on at 10. Um, Orc Skull at 2. But in between that, I usually he does. Rob is great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In between those, I'm going to have a little mini adventure at 1. So it'll be from 1 to 3 Eastern. Challenges. It'll be because I have the whole. If you watched last night, I got the entirety of Altamira up on the table, right? So I'm like, and they can't do the joust due to time, Bella and Rogue Chick. So I'm like, what can I do? So we'll utilize this. We'll utilize what's going on. Actual combat events. They'll be part of it. So that will be happening tomorrow from 1 to 3. Yeah, it'll be a blast. And so that'll be that. And then it's 18 now. So there's 18 competitors in the Grand Joust. And it's in Fate's hands, so it's going to be completely random who fights who each round. So there will be a winner and losers bracket, but there'll
Yeah.
just be
Is
like,
that the first time you done that setup with random
oh yeah,
rounds? Okay. Yep.
yeah. I'm trying to change it up each year. Last year was you could
Yeah.
call someone out,
Mm-hmm.
right? You
Yeah,
could
but
call
that's
yeah,
awesome that you changed it a little bit
yeah, oh
setup
yeah,
and it's cool. Yeah.
absolutely. So like
Yeah.
the top two jousters may,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's a double elimination. So, but
Oh
you
yeah,
never
and
know.
it's such a cool because it's traditional event that you run once a year,
Yeah,
and the
thanks.
community. It's yeah, it's awesome. And
Appreciate
Tim
that.
doing the toasting, kind of the announcer and all that. It's super cool.
I'm
Yep.
trying. I'm trying. Yeah,
Yeah.
no Black Knight. The Black Knight's got a
Mm-hmm.
chance. You never know.
Yep. Yep.
And that'll be and then at the end of the evening there on Saturday, both Armin and Fate
Yep.
Folk and Myth are on after that. So we'll see them. Um, we'll see them late night, right? Yep, at 10, and then Sunday. Uh, Rob starts at Sunday morning. We'll have a little break because we didn't have anyone in the early afternoon. And also Guild Superior will be on at 3, and then this event, the Ask the Experts, wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Eric will be on a plane, so he won't be there, but everyone else will.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Yep.
So, yeah. And no rodeos. There's no rodeos in Altamira, BB. So, yeah. Who are the competitors? Just gonna have to find that out, man, Tuck, right? Most of them are the same. So, like, there are, Lady Isarel, the 3-time champion's back. That's Bones. Um, we have another. Let's see, Brungal's playing another female character. So Tim is the longest named character in existence. The ever mysterious Tim's. Sir Reginald Rathmore, David Errol, Champion the Fourth, Defender of the Faith, and Vanquisher of the Unrighteous.
That's a cool name.
Yes, it's been a long time for that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the Black Knight's back. And some of the others. Juan Carlos, Captain of the Guard, played by
Yep.
Canadian Ancient Gamers, back. Chuck Humbo's playing Robert the Crayon. Yeah.
Yep.
Darling's got Molly Hatchet back in. She went to the finals last year. Luke Gygax is playing the son of Melth Eliador, or Smelth, if you want to call him that. So there you go. So there's a
Yep.
lot of, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Death Angel Shadow. There's been talks. I've been using a lot of these techniques for Cobalt Press for Midgard. I've actually mapped a heck of a lot of Midgard the last decade. I'm in talks with one other game publisher. I can't name names yet, but I might do a commercial project for them next year that will use this technology. We'll see. And also, Jay called me. That was funny. I was at Siesta yesterday, and I thought it was the alarm that
Oh,
went
when I
off.
called you?
Yeah, yeah, I thought it was the alarm, so I was like on my headset and tried to turn it off, and all of a sudden Jay started talking to me. So yeah, I can't mention details yet, but we'll see. That might turn into something too,
Well,
even more
some
so.
people
So
in
yeah,
here said some things, and I said just be patient.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it was
But it was funny, so that's why I didn't answer you first, because it was like first I thought it was just silence the alarm, and then Jay started talking to me. That was awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so there might be some time, but for me, the big constraints is time. I only have 24 hours a day, or I only want to work on this 8 to 10 hours a day, and not every day for like 4 days a week. So and or five, and then do some other stuff, hiking and walking with my dog and stuff like that. So time is the big thing here, so to speak. And also the other thing is that a lot of publishers, and this is something publishers need to hear, is that my patrons, you guys are now paying me more than most publishers want to pay me. So that's why you keep me away from doing commercial
yeah,
stuff, because if I want to do commercial stuff, some publisher needs to pay me more per month than what you guys paying me, and it's hard for them to meet that. And the more you supporting me, the less I'm even inclined to do it. There will be very few publishers who are willing to pay me several thousands a month for working on a map, but you guys are. So that is why that is so important for me, and it gives me good leverage. And so it's yeah, it makes this possible, so to speak, and it makes me passionate about that I really can do this. So yeah, so it gets thanks. So yeah, yeah, that's one of my goals, is because this is like a marathon. You need to be able to keep it up long term. It's not what you do per day or per week. It's like now leading up to the convention, I worked like 16, 18 hours a day for a week, but I couldn't do that. So next week I'm going to take 2 days off, and then I'm going to work for Gamehole Publishing for a couple of days, and then I'm going to take a couple of more days off, and then I'm going to go to Gamehole Con, work like heck uh, for that, and then come back home and have probably 3 or 4 days doing nothing but read books, lay in bed, and just walk around the neighborhood.
yeah.
And then I will come back again with a vengeance and do a heck of a lot of heraldry and a bunch of stuff like that. So you need to be able to work long term. That's the key for me, because now I've done this professionally for a decade, and I still like it more now, or as much now as when I started. And that's the goal with this, to keep it doing, and invest the money in more better equipment, more skills, because now I understand what I'm doing way more than I did 10 years ago. And I want to continue that. I have Linux servers to understand, Unreal software to get my head around and stuff like that. So I always try to learn new things. I've learned Markdown and Obsidian and GIS and stuff the last 5 years. Now I'm learning uh, tiled server setups, GIS server, Unreal, and stuff like that. That's on my menu. So I spend 1 day a week just reading, learning that stuff, and experimenting. And then I spend 1 day away from my desk usually per week, and then the rest is mapping and so on. It's easy here in the California in the summer because it's so hot. So you get up early, get your exercise done, and then I can hang out in front of the computer all day. And then comes winter when I work a little bit less, because then it's more fun to be out hiking and stuff. So I work a little bit less. But summer is my big work time because it's so hot here in Southern California. It's wonderful to just sit inside in front of the computer and work. Yeah.
We're waiting on Carlos just
Yeah.
for his stream to pop up, and then I'll do the
Yeah.
giveaways here.
Yeah. So I'm really trying, and thank to you guys. It's so awesome because I get so much constructive feedback, awesome praise, and some good hard criticism from now on. And but the Greyhawk community, I must give a big shout out to the Greyhawk community, because for the vast majority of the Greyhawk community, but very few exceptions, hardly any, almost none. It's a wonderful community of wonderful people that collaborate, riff off each other, come up with ideas that others pick and stuff. And so what I see myself as providing a lot of the raw material for the Greyhawk community, like heraldry, map data, and stuff like that for the Greyhawk community to build on. So I want other streamers, other Greyhawk creators and stuff to use my maps. That's why I'm now shifting all my licensing for the I publish all my Greyhawk stuff and Hawktales under CC BY license, so you can put it on DM's Guild, you can use it on your blog, streams, whatever. Don't worry about it. You can use it for whatever purpose you want. Just give me a little shout outs now and then, and then you can use it even if you earn money on it or something. Don't worry about it. Just use it. Yeah. Exactly, BB Fan Fun. Yeah, that's something printing. I had a little bit of a problem now, hiccup, because Noble Dwarf had, first of all, the maps I've done so far hasn't been specifically made to be printed, and then Noble Dwarf, he seems to have issues or something because his website had gone wonky and stuff like that. So yeah, so now, but what I will do is that I first of all I want to uh, create a series of maps that are made for print, 24 by 36 inches, ready to be printed at that format, so to speak. And then secondly, I want somehow to set up a merch store so you can get t-shirts and some of the cool stuff. And eventually I would love to find a partner so you can order maps and get them printed. And Noble Dwarf was that the problem was that problem one, and the biggest problem was that he didn't have the right raw material because my maps weren't targeted to be printed. That is something I hope to start fixing next year. And so to have printed maps and then eventually find a printing partner that you can go to their website and you can order the print on demand a copy of X, Y, or Z maps, so to speak. So that's come. And I want to add some t-shirts and some other cool stuff, a little bit Hawktail stuff and stuff like that, just to sponsor the development a bit.
We are still waiting. I don't know
Oh,
what.
thank you, Death Angle. That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. I love that we have talk shows, and I love talk shows and stuff like that too. I like live play too, but it's also fun to hear people talk about your game and game worlds and all that stuff too.
We mix it up here. 2 talk
Yeah.
shows a
Hmm.
week, so
Yeah, it's so cool
yeah.
that to have
So
both games and talk shows
yep.
every other night. So, yep.
I'm not in the talking mood with me feeling the way I'm feeling, but I'm hanging in there. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
have to
tough
save my
running conventions. So,
yeah.
yep.
I'm gonna have to save my strength for tomorrow.
Hmm.
But like all right, well I'm gonna Carlos to 805, and then if he's not on, I'm going to raid into Orc Skull instead, who's got
Okay. Yep.
is he live? How come he's not showing? Really?
1 second ago. Okay. Yep.
Oh, well, that's why. Okay. All right. All right. So hold on. It hasn't popped up. It's usually a 2-minute delay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hold on.
Yep. So we have to wait a little bit. But
Yeah.
thank you again, everybody, for watching and helping me do this. It's a privilege to be able to do this.
All right. There we go. Okay. I got it up. Now I just need to, it's like he's still setting it up. I always, yeah, this picture's missing here. Let me go
Yeah.
to,
See if you have any other last minute announcements or something. Question. Yep.
just, that I'll be up bright and early for Tim's game,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
it'll be a long day. So,
Yeah, I have my
yeah,
game at 6
thanks.
p.m. Pacific tomorrow night, so I have a little bit of time to prep and watch all the other cool stuff that will happen during the day tomorrow.
I ran out of cough drops, so and I'm gonna run around to the
Yeah,
air
I
raids.
wish I could virtually send some. I still have a few
Yeah,
left here, so yeah,
I'm gonna bolt. So all right, let's do the two
yeah,
giveaways.
hmm,
Two $10 gift certificates. I have them, so when I
yeah,
get back from the store, I will release
yeah. And
them.
thank you, Jay, for producing this
Of
and
course,
giving me the
always.
platform. Yeah, it's
Sure.
awesome. Yeah,
All right, here we go. Here, let's see who wins.
yeah,
Oh,
Amy, you need to get up early.
oh, you're in that game too, Amy, right? Tomorrow. DM John and Savage Splendor. I will be sending them. Yeah, well, Amy, if you be ready for chaos in that game with 10 players, I don't know what the hell's going to happen
Yeah,
with
we'll
Tim. That's
see.
nuts.
Yeah,
But it's Tim, so that's why we have not one but two emote heads for Tim because he's ever mysterious. And there you go. Yep. So, alrighty. Many will die. They all may die. He's so worried that he said he's not going to make it official part of his campaign because he's going to
Uh-oh.
ruin 2 adventuring groups.
Yeah, that's the risk when you run
Yeah.
online games or stream games if they're part of your campaign because things can go haywire. So
All right.
yeah,
So I'm going to attempt to. All right. So he's got all the pictures up. I'm going to attempt to raid into Carlos. Let's hope that works. Because he's still not showing on my thing, which is really strange. But I'll give it a shot here. So thanks everyone. Really appreciate it. In fact, I'm going to raid off this screen. So
yeah.
see you. I did them. They're done. They're done. DM John and Savage Splendor won them. Yep, I got them. Boom, boom, that quick. Yep, absolutely. A lot more giveaways coming. So we keep it up. Yeah, real quick, really quick.
Yep.
We gave away a lot of stuff last night in the Ed game. And we'll keep it coming every stream. So let me all right, let me try and raid out. I'll raid out off this channel here to make it easier. So we'll just leave this up here, and everyone will see you. Well, I'll see you tomorrow morning. And for the next. And when's your game? What time tomorrow?
It's 6 p.m. tonight, tomorrow night. It's
Okay,
Pacific
very
time.
cool.
So yeah.
Let me try to see if I can
So
find it.
it's 9 Eastern in the evening. So
Yep,
yep.
there we go. All right.
Survive Jace Joust 2025. Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. All right, look at this. A large number going in. Carlos is playing. So
Oh
5, 4,
wow.
3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow. Enjoy Carlos's game.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Awesome.
88. That's great
Yep.
numbers for like an in-between
Yeah,
talk show
that's
during a
awesome.
convention like this. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yep. And my game this morning went superb. That was like wow.
Awesome.
That was the first time I ran a fairly high. It was like 10. The characters were 9th to 12th level, and it
Wow.
flowed very smoothly, and all the players had fun. That was like all the bits fell in place, and they were like, wow, that was amazing.
Very,
Yeah,
very cool.
yeah,
That's great to hear.
yeah. So that was super cool.
All right. So I got to roll because I got to get to Walgreens
Oh
before it
yeah.
closes. So
Yeah, and I need to take Chico
have
out, go for a walk
have a
before it
great
gets
night, man.
dark.
I'll talk to you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
thank you.
All
Yeah,
right. See ya.
okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.